Hi, this is Reverend Sean, Dr. Sean, Reverend Sean over the Center Pass. I wanted to say also Tujiche and Tashi Dalek to my new subscribers. It seems I got a lot of them that are Vajrayana Buddhists because we had a little discussion about the Dalai Lama, and that's what we're going to continue on here. We need to uh, work on this. It's gotten a lot more, I think, press than it needs. And at this point, you have people who are very, on one side, very defensive and very upset that the Dalai Lama was insulted. And this makes sense. I mean, this is their leader. This is the leader of the Tibetan form of Buddhism, or at least most of them. And he's been around for an awfully long time. So we also know that, yeah, it probably wasn't a good idea. The translation came out really terribly, suck my tongue versus eat my tongue versus whatever it was. Us in the West, we don't know enough about that. We need to be more educated. And so for that, we ask for compassion. We ask for compassion. We ask for some understanding and some patience in our ignorance, because a lot of people flipped out and called him a pedophile or whatever it was, and how this is a terrible problem in that form. And there's, dark lama or something like that. So I think at this point we need to step back and act a little bit more like His Holiness the Dalai Lama himself, which is who? He's the emanation or the example of compassion, because he's the reincarnation, the re-existence of Avalokiteshvara. So that's Kuan Yin to some of you, or canon to those of you in Japan. And this the idea of compassion. He's been working at this tirelessly. He took seriously the Bodhisattva vows and really worked upon those, and has worked on those for many, many, many years. Now, if there was really a mess up, if we take this other side, we come over here and we say, hey man, there was a mess up, he has issues with children or something like that, it would have shown up sooner. We would have seen more about it probably since then. A lot of people of not news really are saying more about it than anything. And we need to also have some compassion for that, because those people were obviously triggered because they've seen this thing before. And we have seen sexual abuse and sexual impropriety in the Sangha, in the Mahasangha, and as well as the laity. And we need to work on that. We need to bring it to the front. This is a good way to have a discussion, bringing that forward and having discussion and really looking at it, but not burning people at the stake, or tarring, feathering them, or whatever it's going to be, that kind of metaphorical canceling thing that everybody seems to want to do. We need to take our time, get the information. I said this before in my last video, and I'm going to say it again in this video. We need to take the time and really understand what the context was. There's intent, there's context, and there's content. So the content looks terrible. Okay, we look at it, we're like, oh my gosh, he wants to tongue kiss a little kid, and the kid obviously looks a little hesitant, but you're in front of cameras and stuff too, so we have to give him that leeway with that, right? Also, the mother and the child did make a report later on saying like, hey, no, everything was great, we had met him before, and this was a wonderful time, and all this kind of stuff. Now, some of you will take that on this side and say like, well, of course he's going to say that, he doesn't want to say anything bad about him, but there's really something going on, and we can't say that. We can't say yes, we can't say no. My gut feeling is, yeah, it's weird. It was a really weird thing. It was a really awkward thing. The Dalai Lama did post a an apology, but I think what they need to do is just let it go and move on from there. That's what I would do if I was a PR person. I would do a little bit better one probably, and then have some educational videos, which a lot of people are doing, which is really nice. So those of you out there who are really into the Dalai Lama, just keep going. I mean, he's this is one little weird misinterpretation and misread thing and misunderstood thing that it'll clear up. And for those of you on the other side, give it some time, look at what it really is, do your actual research, don't just jump to conclusions like everybody has. Now, of course, yes, Tibetan Buddhism, the Dalai Lama, has had to be really politically correct in a lot of different things. So when he speaks about things, he can't speak directly sometimes. This is a politic thing. This is actually a cultural thing in Buddhism, but also in most Asian cultures. You don't like speak out right away against anybody. It takes some time, for you to really get these things going. So we need to understand that, and we need to give some time for that, and we need to understand that we don't just jump in there and attack people without the proper information. In fact, in Buddhism, of course, we don't attack people at all. We want to actually see if they can develop their own understanding and have compassion for them and have patience for them to develop their own understanding and to repent and to fix things. Now, it looks like the Dalai Lama is already doing this. But anyway, so I just wanted to thank you guys for subscribing and watching. That's really important to me. I really want to get this going more. I want to do more on. I had an entire idea of doing this more on some controversial monks and nuns and different sanghas and stuff like that. So I'd like to do more of that. If you want more of that, please let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. And we will I'll talk to you on the flip side. I'll have better information later. We'll talk about something cool or whatever. I've got a whole bunch of information from things in Nepal and the far beyond all of this news. There's a lot of good stuff out there too. So stay tuned for it and keep looking for it, because that's how life is better, right? See ya.